Good evening and thank you for joining us. At 6, I'm Nicole Long. As we are now just 8 days away from Election Day, voters in Delaware County will have limited hours to use the county's only drop-off ballot box. 12 News' Daniel Curran learned how this may affect voters across the county.
A decision was recently made by the Delaware County Board of Supervisors to relocate the county's only drop-off ballot box from inside the Board of Elections building in Delhi. The box was removed from its outdoor location after the board cited security issues. Officials in Delhi say they've seen no such issues.
There have been no issues in the past. There's no current issues. It seems a little odd to me that the box would be advertised, used, and then 4 days later removed when there was no issue that would trigger that to occur.
Several residents in Delaware County cited concerns they had regarding this change. They expressed comments relating to inconvenience, a lack of clarity regarding the decision, and more. With limited hours of operation at the Board of Elections, officials say this could make voting more difficult for some.
In the end, people realize that it's a very specific population that's going to be affected by this. Unfortunately, it's the population of working people that are going to be affected by this, people working that third shift or people that have mobility issues and can't get out during business hours.
Despite this change, Delaware County residents have multiple ways to ensure their vote gets in.
My suggestion would be to have a trusted friend or neighbor drop it off for you as they're swinging through Delhi during business hours. Otherwise, the only other option really is to put a stamp on it and make sure it's postmarked by Election Day.
12 News reached out to officials with the Delaware County Board of Supervisors but did not hear back regarding the decision to relocate the drop-off box. Daniel Curran, 12 News, Delaware County.